Our engagement party was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. White flowers on every table, twinkling lights across the garden, a string quartet playing something soft and romantic. Everyone was smiling, taking photos, clinking glasses, and I was pretending I was okay. Because just minutes before it all started, Rodrigo's mom pulled me aside. Hard. Dug her fingers into my arm like I was a child being scolded. And with that cold, polished smile she always used to cut deep without ever raising her voice, she said, "You should be grateful someone like him is even looking at you. Girls like you usually don't get a ring." I wish I could say I snapped back. I wish I had thrown my drink in her face or said something brilliant that shut her down. But I didn't. I just stood there blinking, my throat closing up. I smiled like nothing was wrong. I walked back into the party. I smiled for photos. I cut the cake, like a good little girl, like the kind of girl who doesn't ruin a family moment. Rodrigo didn't notice, or pretended not to. He kissed me in front of everyone and said something cheesy about forever. My mom cried. His dad toasted to our future. And his mother? She sat there with a glass of wine, smiling proudly, like she hadn't just stabbed me through the heart in private. That was the first real crack. I had seen red flags before, subtle ones, like how she always corrected me in front of others, or how she'd compare me to Rodrigo's ex, the perfect one who still sent Christmas cards. But I thought, it's just the way she is. I thought if I tried harder, she'd warm up. What a joke. That night, after the last guest left and I was in bed staring at the ceiling, Rodrigo whispered, "She didn't mean it. That's just how she talks." That's when I realized he had heard. He just didn't care enough to stop her. And from that moment, I knew. I was marrying a man who would always protect his mother, even if she was destroying me from the inside out. But I didn't leave. Not yet. Because I had something better in mind. Something quieter, smarter, more permanent. I stopped laughing at her fake jokes. I stopped texting her photos of our dog like she ever cared. And most importantly, I started paying attention. Every jab, every passive-aggressive dig, every little comment she made when Rodrigo wasn't around. I kept a note in my phone, a private log. She called it harmless teasing. I called it psychological warfare. At first, Rodrigo would defend her. "That's just how she talks. You're overreacting." But then, I started asking one simple question every time he said that. "Would you be okay if someone talked to your sister like that?" And just like that, he'd go silent. He started noticing. A little. But never enough to do anything about it. That's when I knew. I couldn't count on him either. So I turned inward. I focused on myself. I got promoted. Started saving. Quietly, carefully. No big purchases, no flashy changes. Just preparation. Because deep down, I already knew I wouldn't be staying in that house. Then came the dress fitting. My mom and Rodrigo's mom were both invited. It was supposed to be a sweet bonding moment, a mother-daughter kind of thing, except she wasn't my mother, and she made that very clear. The moment I stepped out of the fitting room, she sighed. Lace is tricky on girls with broader shoulders." The stylist froze. My mom blinked, unsure if she heard it right. And me? I just smiled and said, "Thanks for your input." But inside, I was done. She crossed the line. Again. And this time, I saw the look on Rodrigo's face. Embarrassment. Not anger. Not defense. Just discomfort. He wouldn't fight for me. He never would. And that was okay, because I wasn't planning to fight anymore either. I was planning to walk away so silently, so devastatingly, she'd never see it coming. Bridesmaids texting about color palettes. Rodrigo showing me honeymoon destinations, his mom planning a brunch like we were already blood. But every time someone said, "You must be so excited," I'd just nod, smile, sip my coffee. Inside, I felt nothing, because while they were picking centerpieces, I was picking lawyers. Yes, lawyers. Not because I wanted a fight, but because I wanted to make sure that when I left clean. No loose ends, no what-ifs, no drama. Just silence. The first thing I did was transfer all the money I had saved into a separate account under a different bank. One Rodrigo didn't know I used. Next, I found an apartment. Tiny, furnished, month-to-month lease. I told the landlord I needed something temporary for work. He didn't ask questions. Perfect. Then I made copies of everything, receipts, messages, screenshots of every insult from his mother, even the one where she accidentally texted me saying, "She's not right for him, but he'll get over it." That one stung, not because she said it, but because I wasn't surprised anymore. By then I had stopped crying, stopped hoping. I was already gone in my mind, just waiting for the right exit. And then came the rehearsal dinner. Held at her house, of course. Candlelit, expensive, curated to impress. I wore black, on purpose, and she noticed. "Not exactly bridal, is it?" I smiled. "Just honoring the death of my expectations." She laughed. Rodrigo didn't get it, but I did, because that night, as they toasted to forever, I looked around and saw it clearly for the first time. This wasn't my family. This wasn't my partner. This wasn't my future. So I made one final plan. A dinner. At my place. Just the key people. One last gathering, before I walked away for good. And I knew exactly what I'd say when the time came. Just one sentence, one clean, sharp sentence. She would never forget it. I kept everything simple, soft lighting, a few candles, no decorations, no fake celebration. Just enough wine and food to keep people seated and unsuspecting. Rodrigo thought it was a thank you dinner. A sweet gesture from the bride-to-be to the families. I let him believe that. My mom was there, quiet, already sensing something. His dad was polite as always, clueless. And his mother? She arrived 10 minutes late, walked in like she was stepping onto a stage, air-kissed me, looked around and said, "Cozy, humble, but cute." I said nothing. Everyone took their seats. I served the wine, waited until the glasses were half empty and the small talk had turned into casual laughter. Then I stood up, calm, steady, and I said, "I just want to say thank you to everyone here for showing me exactly who you are." The room went still. Rodrigo blinked. His mother tilted her head, confused. My mom lowered her fork. I kept going. "This isn't a celebration. It's a goodbye. I won't be at the wedding, and there won't be one." Silence. Rodrigo laughed. He thought I was joking, until I slid a small envelope across the table to him. Inside, the keys to our shared apartment, a copy of my new lease, and a letter I had written weeks ago. His mother's face froze. Then, the best part, I turned to her and said the sentence I had rehearsed 100 times. "You raised a son who couldn't stand up to you, and I refuse to spend the rest of my life sitting down." Her jaw tightened. Rodrigo looked at me like I had just stabbed him. But I hadn't. I had freed myself, without yelling, without begging, without tears. Just one dinner, one sentence. And then I picked up my bag and walked out. I didn't even flinch when Rodrigo called, texted, begged to talk this out. There was nothing left to say. Because when someone shows you, over and over, that their comfort matters more than your dignity, you stop explaining yourself. You just leave. The next morning, I woke up in my tiny apartment. Sunlight leaking through the curtains. No noise, no pressure, no pretending. Just silence. Beautiful, heavy silence. My mom dropped by later with coffee, and that look only moms have, part proud, part heartbroken. She didn't ask questions, just hugged me for a long time and said, "You did the right thing, even if it doesn't feel like it yet." And she was right. It didn't feel good, but it felt clean. I started over, 1 hour at a time, deleted photos, canceled vendors, sent a polite, short message to those who needed to know, blocked numbers I didn't want to hear from, including hers, especially hers. Because even after it all, Rodrigo's mom sent me a message, just one line, "You'll regret this." I didn't answer. I just smiled. That message said everything I needed to know, that even after all her poison, she still believed she held power over me. She didn't, not anymore. And the truth? Regret never came. Peace did. Slowly. Quietly. The kind of peace that wraps around you not like a celebration, but like relief. I wasn't a bride, but I was finally free. People stopped whispering. The curiosity died down. Some friends faded. Others got closer. And Rodrigo? He tried. A few emails. A voicemail I never played. Then silence. I heard through someone that he was taking time to heal. Funny. I had to heal from both of them. And I didn't get a support group or sympathy. I got called dramatic, ungrateful, cold, but I didn't care. Because every time I sat alone in my new space, with my own money, my own choices, my own damn peace, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Power. The quiet kind. The kind you earn after years of shrinking yourself for people who never clapped when you grew. His mother always said I was lucky to have him. She never once thought he was lucky to have me. And that told me everything. I don't tell this story to get revenge. I tell it because I wish someone had told me that leaving before the wedding isn't weakness, it's strength. I tell it because I want someone, maybe you, to know that you don't owe anyone a performance. Not your family, not his, not even the man you once thought you'd marry. Sometimes love doesn't fall apart loudly. Sometimes it ends over dinner, with a quiet sentence, and a door that doesn't reopen. And no, I'm not bitter. I'm not broken. I'm just finally whole.